Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say what a pleasure it is to be here today. So to introduce myself, I'm Oliver Lofthouse. I work with our gold partners in the indirect B2B channel for Vodafone. So we have 50 partners across the UK, and I work with a team with those partners to be real ambassadors for Vodafone as a brand. And CCS is one of those great performing partners that give us the ability to have a local touch point into businesses in local geographies. So it's really great to be here. I arrived last night at about 11:30. I was at an event in Hampshire in the early part of the week. And I thought, right, I'm going to use this technology. I'm going to bring my tablet to my room. I'm going to put my presentation on so I can review it and go through it. And I woke up this morning and I thought, now where have I put my tablet? And I thought, oh, I must have left it in the car. I walked down into the car park, and there on the top of my car was my tablet. And how it was still there, I'll never know. Anyway, in terms of the session that we've got today, I'm not going to spend the next 40 minutes trying to sell to you. Certainly, what I want to do is to sell a message and a vision. And actually, I'm not going to talk about lots of model numbers of handsets. I'm not going to fill this with lots of technical speak. Number one, because I'm not technical. And number two, is that I've actually brought somebody with me who can talk about the technical side of Vodafone. So when I started to think about this presentation, the real important message, and this is one of the reasons that I joined Vodafone, because when you start to think about Vodafone as a brand, you think big corporate company, mobile network, second to none, investment. You start to understand the business a little more, and you see that they're investing over £1 million a day in the network to improve the mobility and network that we have as Vodafone. And actually, before I joined, I had the opportunity to meet up with our CEO, a guy called Guy Lawrence. And I was talking to him about the strategy of Vodafone and actually what its vision was. And he didn't talk about beating the competition. He didn't talk about market share. He said something that at first I thought was quite an arrogant statement. He said to me, "We want to change the way Britain works." And I thought, well, that's a really simple, compelling message, but actually, what does that mean and how does it work? And really, what our business now is equipped to do is to provide the support to all businesses within the UK to actually adopt new ways of working. So actually, we have the technology, we have the R&D, we have the products and the services that actually can improve your businesses. And I would really say there's a challenge that everybody, through the adoption of new ways of working, can actually make savings. They can make their business quicker, smarter. You can save costs. You can be more dynamic, be more competitive. And those are the things that I want to talk to you today, not about trying to connect you to the Vodafone network. What I hope you will see is that Vodafone is the right partner for your business to make some of these things come to life for you. And that's where we're going to focus on OneNet as we go forward. So one of the first things I remember anyone ever telling me about giving a presentation was always to try and judge your audience, just to know, what the sort of level of intellect was, how awake they were at the time you start to make a presentation. So I started to think of November the 17th, and I thought, right, I wonder what happened in this day in history. And I thought there must be some really good technological advancements that I can refer to. Unfortunately, there weren't too many of those. The first thing was, on this day, the Suez Canal actually opened for trade, so connecting the Mediterranean with the Red Sea, man-made waterway. Does anyone know what year the Suez Canal opened? Any guesses? Yeah. 1869. Pardon? 1869. Oh my dear, I'm in trouble. That is spot on. Congratulations. Okay. Oh my goodness. The second one was the PlayStation 3. So that was introduced, first sold on this day in America. Anyone got an idea of the date?
2007?
Oh, that's very close as well. Actually, 2006 was the first time the PlayStation 3. Great guess. And the last one was this gentleman was also born on the 17th of November, Danny DeVito. Anyone hazard a guess of what year he was born? No? Oh dear, so I'm in trouble about geography, civil construction and technology. Danny DeVito was actually born in 1940, sorry? Perfect. Ah, Google. Great. Look, that was very quick. You must be on the Vodafone network. Well done. Excellent. You are. Fantastic. Well, okay. So what am I going to talk about? Just to break down this. First of all, I'm going to just explain in a little bit more detail about what new ways of working actually means in the context of what we're talking about today. I'm also then going to talk about why actually now I think this is extremely relevant in terms of where we are today. We talk about it as being the perfect storm. You know, there are a lot of uncertainties in the world, there is a lot of change, technology is moving at such a fast pace, and actually this is what presents the opportunity for us all, us as suppliers, but also you as businesses. What I'm then going to do is just talk a little bit about what I think it can do for your business. So I've got a couple of examples. I've got one from within Vodafone of things that we've done in looking at new ways of working. But I've also had the opportunity to work with a much smaller business to actually see how that can work. So it might just give you some food for thought about how this actually lives. And then I'm going to hand over to Paul Wright. So Paul is our unified comms sales specialist. And it would be great. He's going to talk about what Vodafone are doing to actually support your business. No longer will Vodafone just be seen as a mobile network. We are about making a play for total communications. And actually, it will be us as one business that can supply all of those products to you. So Paul's going to talk about what our recent developments in that area have been. So what are new ways of working? So the first thing is, quite a lot of businesses actually have quite a lot of habits. They do things because they've done it for a very long time. They've done it because they started a business, and as it grew, they perhaps haven't changed some of those habits that they formed, even though they know they should have. It's about thinking about new possibilities, things that perhaps you hadn't considered before, new ways of doing things that actually you might see from competitors, you might see from other companies. And then it's really about identifying how technology can actually support that for you to make those changes. So I've just got a couple of examples in terms of how we all form habits. So what I'd like you to do is just all fold your arms. Okay. Now what I want you to do is unfold them and fold them the other way. Yeah, there's quite a lot of which way does it go. So, you know, that's something, a habit that we all form that we don't really think about. And another one, and this is a bit more personal, but the next time you get out of the shower or the bath, I want you to think about one thing. What's the first part of your body that you dry? And I bet you do the same part of your body every single time you get out of the shower or the bath. And I'll tell you what, the other thing is, somebody told me this about 5 years ago, and every time I get out of the shower, I'm always thinking it's the sort of thing that just sticks with you. Okay, the next bit, I've just got a little bit of audience participation. So I've got a very simple puzzle, 9 dots. And all you have to do, and the first person to raise their hand with a solution, I have a prize, a nice bottle of Moët for the person that actually does this. 3 simple things. I want you to join all of the 9 dots. But there are some constraints. First of all, you can only use straight lines. You can use no more than 4 straight lines. And you mustn't retrace over a line on the diagram. So when you think you've got a solution, just raise... Oh, wow. That's very quick. Would you like to just come up and show me your solution? I've got a flip chart over here. Ooh, excellent. Well done. Round of applause. There you go. Fantastic. Well done. Yeah. Slightly different way of forming that solution. The other one is you can do it with 3 lines. If you do it across the diagonal, I ran out a bit of space, but you can do it like that as well. So again, it's just looking at a puzzle and perhaps thinking about how you can do things in different ways. And then looking at how technology can support you. So over the years, and if we go back over the sort of the last century or two, we can look at things that have really dramatically changed the way we use technology. So I put the definition of technology being the practical application of scientific knowledge. So at the top left-hand corner there, Alexander Graham Bell made the first phone call in 1915. So you can imagine, and you all know, how that's transformed our businesses. In 1888, Carl Benz introduced the first production automobile. And in the bottom right-hand corner, bringing it more to date, Tim Berners-Lee, who actually in 1990 created the first internet, the World Wide Web, the first communication over the internet. Now that's happened over quite a long period of time. And I think as we go through today, we will see how that technology advancement is becoming more and more compressed and more advanced in certain areas. So really, what I see as the challenge or even the opportunity for you all sitting here today is that you've invested a day out of your business. And all I would like you to do is to think about how a different approach, making some change or introducing some new technology might actually support you, your teams, and your businesses. That's really my challenge to you over the next sort of 30 minutes. So first of all, let's just think about why it is relevant. So Chris touched a little bit on this. So if we look at a sort of a 30-year timeline, some things have really changed. So going back to 1980, we all remember the phones that we probably had at home, even in our offices, that was the finger in the dial that you let go and it took you 10 minutes to dial a phone number. The Vodafone logo there, Vodafone made the first mobile call in 1985. As Chris talked about, in 1990, we started to see the introduction of email in the workplace. So people started, instead of having memos that, would go round 3 days to make sure everyone had seen it and you signed at the bottom to see that you'd seen the memo or the message, we started to use email in some businesses. And as Chris said, in 2000, we saw the first mobile data device. So we started to see data moving out of the office. And that little pesky red light on the top of a BlackBerry will be the bane of many people's lives, because wherever you are at any time, as soon as you see that red light flashing, you just have to see what's actually going on. And then if you look only over the last 10 years, the changes that we've got, Twitter and Facebook, they weren't here 6 years ago. And just look at the impact that they are making on people's lives. We've got the smartphones. They're continually being evolved more and more. We're getting to the stage where our mobile phones will be our PCs, and actually laptops will die, and that will be the development. Amazon, in Q1 of 2011, actually downloaded more books onto the Kindle than it sold as hard copies. So those sort of things are really starting to change really quickly. And the other thing is it's getting faster all of the time. So what we've seen over 30 years as we move forward will be on a much more compressed timescale. And probably the scope of those changes will also be greater as well. Could you just put your hand up if you were born between 1962 and 1980? Okay, so what's that? About 50–60% of the audience. So you're known as Generation X. So what I'm going to do is just spend a few minutes talking about what Generation X is and how it forms a part of our society, but also how it approaches technology.